Please tell me the craziest cheating story you have. I don't mean I went through his phone and seen this. I mean absolutely insane. And how did you catch them or confront them?
The craziest cheating story I know of is husband is a doctor, started cheating with a nurse. Wife got shot. Wife claimed she shot herself in an attempt to kill herself. I think the husband did it, but she thought if she said she did it, the husband would stay faithful since she was holding his secret. He didn't, and within few days, the wife mysteriously died in the same hospital husband worked. Husband married the person he was cheating with. Time went by, and current wife started cheating off him, and he was going to divorce her, and she was in fear of losing all that money, and slowly started putting poison in his food, and he eventually died. She then married the guy she was cheating with, but after the cops fully investigated the death of her then doctor husband, they found her guilty of murder. She is now in prison.
Well, we as a family have caught him several times. The first time he was caught, it was just an EA. He was on Whisper. He was caught by my 16-year-old son. The second time he was caught, he was talking to a woman on Facebook. Seeking Married, I think was the group. My other son caught it, sent me pictures of things he was saying. The third time he was caught, he was with AP Hash. She was in his car, left her children in her car, and they were, well, I'm sure you can imagine. Clothes were not an option for the activity together in our car. Doing things, never rode in that car again, by the way. Anyways, I'm sure you can imagine. Well, her hubby was a lunatic and just happened to see her car, kids unattended, and caught them dancing the horizontal mambo in our car. Well, being the lunatic he was, 6'4", 280 pounds, went to his car, he pulled his .44, and proceeded to shoot at my beloved wayward husband. Thankfully, this fellow was a lousy shot. So I found out about it, believe me. Local deacon and just well-thought-of family man getting caught. Well, he made the news. So I gathered his clothing, bowling balls, major awards, pictures, you name it, and decided to have a bonfire in my front yard. BTW, bowling balls and awards with marble bases don't burn. My neighbors took a seat in their lawn chairs, beers in hands, as well as my cousin, chief of police, and the fire marshal, my prom date from high school, all sat and watched me lose my mind. He came home to embers of his former life. Believe it or not, I took him back. He was a sly thing. I did have him sign a post-nuptial agreement and listed deal breakers for our marriage. Brings divorce to the express lane. I highly recommend them if you don't get a prenuptial agreement. He signed, the straw that broke this camel's back. He called me to tell me that he and his old intern, AP number God only knows at this point, she was mentioned in the post-nuptial agreement because she called him work hubby. She worked in another department. We're going to have to take a work trip. He tells me we are going to carpool. We're going to stay overnight in a city 1.5 hours from my home. I'd had enough, and when he got back, I had him served. I showed him how to be truly sorry. 80-20 split. This is the best part. When he moved out, the AP's hubby helped him move out. I refused her entry into my home. So the whole time AP's man was helping, I let him know about the work trip. AP and my 60-year-old ex now live together as her hubby filed. She blames me. I have heard from my kids she may be pregnant. Karma. I don't know if I should leave my partner after everything that's happened. Hi everyone, I'm posting here because I genuinely don't know what the right thing to do is anymore, and I need outside perspective. My partner and I have been together for 4 years. We have 2 young daughters, 2.5 years and 11 months old, and we own a house together. We both work 3 days a week because of the children. He earns around 60,000 euros a year. I earn around 20,000 euros. Our relationship has had many ups and downs. To summarize some major issues. He has serious anger and aggression problems. He cannot regulate his emotions and often screams and punches doors or walls. There has been jealousy on both sides in the past. On my side, this has reduced a lot, but on his side, it hasn't. In February 2025, there was a police raid. He was arrested and detained for 6 months. I was 40 weeks pregnant at the time and had to give birth alone. He received a 600,000 euro fine, and his share of the house was seized. During an aggressive episode, he threw our dog, breaking the dog's hip. Financially, he made me pay almost all fixed monthly expenses alone. Total monthly costs are about 2,500 euros, while he contributed only 1,000 euros. There is much more, but I'm trying to keep this readable. He has trauma. His mother cheated on his father. I also have a very traumatic background: sexual abuse, violence, divorced parents, severe poverty, etc. Recently, I discovered that he has been in contact for a while with a former Friends with Benefits. They were planning to meet in a hotel on February 17th, 2026. When I found out, I completely broke down. I was devastated. It also became clear that they had been in contact on and off throughout our entire relationship. When I confronted him, he lied at first, until I started reading the messages out loud. I kicked him out of the house. He claimed nothing physical happened, only talking. I contacted the woman myself. She told me they met multiple times and had sex during our relationship. He says she is lying, that she's jealous, and that he chose me over her years ago. Today, without discussing it with me, he went to talk to her. She immediately contacted me when he did. He then sent me a video of her crying, saying that she made everything up and that none of it was true. I honestly don't know what to believe anymore. What I do know is that I am a mother, and I want to be a good example for my daughters. I don't want them to grow up thinking this kind of relationship is normal. Has anyone been in a similar situation? Any advice or perspective would be appreciated. I disclosed my cheating to my husband, and I think he's planning to divorce me. My husband has been awfully silent since I disclosed about my cheating. As per the advice I received, I told him about the full extent of the cheating, including the exchange of pics and sexual conversations with strangers on Reddit, as well as the physical instance of cheating at the end of December, but I avoided getting into unnecessary details. It broke my heart to listen to the hurt in his voice when he asked me the few initial questions about who, when, and how, and I answered truthfully. But since then, he hasn't asked me anything, never even raised his voice at me. Now he just tells me he needs time and space to process everything. He avoids speaking to me on a daily basis, usually spends more time out, never without telling me. He always sends me a message beforehand, and I'm fine with taking care of the kids alone for a couple days while he figures out what to do. I have offered all I can, to listen to him, to give him any information he wants, to give him access to my phone and my accounts if he needs, to go to therapy and fix myself. But there's not really much I can do if he has already made up his mind, and I really get the feeling that he's gonna drop the divorce bomb on me someday. Not like I wouldn't deserve it. I just wish he would be angry at me, you know? Say all the mean things I know he has bottled up inside. I know he's mad at me. Who wouldn't be? He wouldn't have anything nice to say about my cheating. I know that. I'm not an idiot. But I wish he would let me see his hurt. Why do it in secrecy? He can be mad at me and still divorce me. I can see what he's doing, that he's preparing to ask for a divorce. I can almost see guilt in his eyes. Something like pity? I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it. I was completely expecting him to explode on me when I tell him about it, but instead he has been so awfully calm and collected. It's so clear and obvious that it's gonna come down to divorce, and I feel so helpless because I can't even do anything about it.
After 10 years together, 8 married, 2 kids, I learned my wife emotionally pursued another man at the start and lied about it for a decade. I feel like my whole life was built on a lie. I, 32M, and my wife, 32F, have been together for 10 years, married for 8, with 2 kids. How it started. Before getting into a relationship, we spent about 6 months getting to know each other. Our interest was mutual. We talked every day, cared about each other, and feelings gradually grew. I gave her hints, she was happy, and it was clear she had feelings for me. I then traveled for 2 weeks and we couldn't talk much. She told me she missed me, which confirmed her feelings. When I came back, I decided to take the relationship forward and tell her that I loved her and wanted to be with her. sudden change. Before I did that, I noticed she was acting weird and distant, not as interested as before. It was her brother's wedding, so I assumed she was just busy, but the behavior continued. She started avoiding me. I told her I loved her anyway. She said she was afraid, that she had never been in a relationship before, and that I was her first. I believed her, justified her behavior, and tried to be patient and take things slowly. About a week later, I asked her directly if she wanted to be with me. She said she wasn't ready for a serious relationship. I was devastated. I told her we shouldn't talk anymore because we had different goals. She wanted us to continue like before, but I refused and left. Getting back together. 2 weeks later, I started doubting myself. We come from a conservative community where relationships happen secretly, and I convinced myself she was just scared of betraying her parents' trust. I went back and told her I'd wait until she felt comfortable and safe. She agreed, and we got into a relationship. At first, she was cold and sometimes rude, but we continued. After about 2 months, she started saying loving and intimate things, and gradually love grew. We began sitting together, holding hands, etc. The male friends. From the beginning, I knew she had 2 male friends. She always assured me they were just friends and that nothing was happening. I told her that one day I would want to see the chats between them. When I asked her to cut contact, she refused. After about 9 months into the relationship, when I felt her love for me had grown deeper, she finally agreed to cut contact. Around that time, one of those friends, the crush I didn't know about, had seen us together. I don't know if that contributed. From then on, things went smoothly for months. We were deeply in love. Seeing the chats after 1 year together. After about 1 year into the relationship, I asked to see her old chats with those men. I was shocked. She had a huge crush on one of them. She flirted with him heavily and tried to get his attention. She saved his photos in her phone gallery. This went on during the first 8 months of our relationship. He wasn't interested and didn't reciprocate. I was angry and heartbroken and called her a cheater. She denied it and said she was just being nice. She had minor feelings when she first knew him years ago, before she even knows me, but those feelings were negligible and are long gone.
He never knew about her feelings. When I came into her life, she didn't feel anything for him. Everything she said to him was pure friendship. At that time, we were deeply in love. I told myself that she showed me everything instead of hiding it. She must be honest. I also stayed because she had already cut contact. Damage to my self-worth. What hurt even more, the flirting was very strong. She told him he was handsome and charismatic. She admitted she didn't find me attractive or charismatic at first.
Yet she still denied having feelings for him. This deeply affected my self-worth. Long distance. Later, I moved abroad for a year to continue my education. That year was miserable, full of arguments and fights. I wanted to leave, but she held on to me, swore she was loyal, and said she loved me deeply. She kept denying that she ever had feelings for him during our relationship. When I asked her to explain specific messages, her explanations only made it sound like she liked him more, which she denied, cried about, and blamed me for misunderstanding. The oath and marriage. Eventually, we agreed that she would swear under oath, we're religious and take oaths very seriously, that she had no feelings for him while with me. She swore and took full responsibility. I told her that if I ever found out she was lying, we would divorce. She agreed and said this would never happen because she was honest and pure with her feelings. We got married and had kids. Our marriage was very good. She was a loving, caring wife. Still, I never forgot what I saw. About once a year, I'd bring it up and she'd reassure me. The full truth after 8 years of marriage.
After 8 years of marriage, I finally found a way to force full disclosure, and she admitted the truth. She confessed that she was lying the whole time, perjury included. At the start of our relationship, she ran into her old crush at college. Her feelings for him came back. She thought, if something is going to happen with him, now is the time, and she should leave me because I'm not the one. That's why she was cold, hesitant with me, and flirting with him while staying with me. She doesn't remember exactly how long this lasted, but she's sure she fully chose me after about 9 months.
This finally explained everything after 10 years of confusion. The fact that she wanted him more than me at the beginning and only settled into loving me after he didn't want her hurts more than a random hookup. Where I am now. It's been 3 months since the truth came out. I'm stuck, depressed, emotionally distressed, and I can't forgive emotional cheating or years of lying. I don't feel love for her anymore, and honestly, I feel like I was never happy this entire decade. Please help me. How would you describe what happened? Am I overreacting? How do I proceed?
My ex M37 cheated on me. I'm a SA with some anxious traits, F30. Advice, please. I was in a long-term relationship, just over 2.5 years, with my ex. The relationship was intense and emotionally close, with strong chemistry and a lot of intimacy, but it was also marked by frequent conflict, defensiveness, and emotional push-pull. Looking back, he appears to have an emotionally avoidant attachment style. When things felt emotionally close, vulnerable, or required accountability, he would become defensive, dismissive, or shut down. When I pulled away or the relationship was at risk, he would pursue reassurance, intimacy, and closeness again. This cycle repeated throughout the relationship. There was also a pattern of infidelity and overlap. Earlier in the relationship, I discovered he had been messaging and emotionally engaging with other women behind my back before anything physical happened. I caught him cheating once before, and although he apologized at the time, the underlying behavior never truly changed.
We eventually broke up, but the breakup was not clean. We stayed in very close contact afterward. Daily messaging, emotional intimacy, sexual conversations, and discussions about possibly reconciling. He repeatedly told me he loved me, wanted me, and reassured me that he was not seeing anyone else. I asked him directly multiple times if there was someone else involved, and each time he denied it. I later discovered that he had actually been seeing another woman since September, while still in a relationship with me and continuing intimate contact afterward. This was not a brief overlap, it was months of deception. When confronted, he initially minimized it and claimed it was recent, but the other woman confirmed the timeline and provided proof. Complicating things further, he works in finance, and the woman he was seeing is his PA, which creates a clear power imbalance and goes against his company's internal policies. Neither of us was aware of the other for a long time. I ultimately felt it was important that she knew the truth, so I shared evidence of the relationship. She later chose to stay with him and blocked me. When everything came out, his response shifted to anger and blame. He accused me of causing trouble, stirring things, and being vindictive for telling the truth. He denied responsibility, reframed himself as the victim, and ultimately told me to get fucked during our final phone call. There was no real accountability, apology, or empathy. What's been hardest to process is the psychological impact of the double life, the gaslighting, the erosion of trust, and the realization that many of the issues I blamed myself for were happening while he was actively deceiving me. I was also dealing with a recent sexual assault at the time, which made the betrayal even more destabilizing. Since ending contact, I've noticed a sense of calm despite the grief. The chaos, weekly arguments, and emotional instability are gone. I still struggle with wanting validation or an apology, but I'm beginning to accept that I may never get one, and that the lack of accountability is part of the pattern. Has anyone experienced this before? Does their ex come back? Do they message in the future? Advice on dealing with this situation.
Feeling weirdly depressed after affair. So to start, I am the perpetrator of the affairs. 3, actually.
I don't really know what I want out of this post, other than to get this stuff and the burden off my chest that I don't feel I have anyone to talk to about. I know that my story makes me look like a total asshole, and I don't suppose that's wrong, in all honesty. I know that. I'm early 40s M, married 18 years. I've had 2 previous affairs. Both, one 9 years ago, the other 4 years ago, were with coworkers, and both lasted several months. In both cases, after telling my wife about the indiscretions, it felt like the end of our marriage, and we talked divorce but reconciled. I won't make excuses for them. I could go into detail on how they started, but it's unnecessary. I never intended to have extramarital affairs, they just happened. It doesn't make it any better, but in both of these, the women in question pursued me. I just let it happen and didn't shut it down or shy away from it, even in the slightest.
Then, back in October this last year, I'd been barely a month into a new job when one night a coworker texted me asking a question about something legitimately work-related. But somehow, in the span of an hour or so, the conversation went from work stuff to light flirting back and forth, and then switching to Snapchat, where, after explaining that she'd be moving states away in a few months, she suggested our hooking up for the remainder of the time she's here. In all honesty, it felt in the moment that it was all happening like it was a joke. It felt too wild to be real, and I didn't believe it was real. And then, a few nights later, it turned out that neither of us were joking at all. And that's now been going on for months. Even though we've only been physical a handful of times, it's not just that. It continues daily in spicy Snapchats and pictures. There's good morning snaps saying "good morning, babe" to each other. All this said, I have been in the most negative headspace I've been in probably my entire life. I've never struggled or dealt with depression before, but think that's where my mindset is at the moment, and it's hard to explain why. I don't know that that feeling is necessarily related to this third affair. Again, I know it will make me look even worse saying this, but I didn't have this feeling in either of the 2 previous relationships. And in both those 2 earlier affairs, there was talk with those partners about what-ifs if I did actually leave my wife. There hasn't been that this time. I never thought I'd be one to ever cheat in my life, much less 3 times in a 9-year span. My parents have been married nearly 50 years and are still together. It's not like I had bad role models for it or anything. I don't know how or why, and I can't explain it, nor do I think there is any justification for it at all. I feel the jackassery of my situation, but for whatever reason feel like I won't stop. I feel like things have spiraled in a way I did not see coming, and I have no idea what I'm doing or what I even want. Like I said, I have no idea what I expected out of typing all of this, other than to try to quiet the noise in my head even a little bit for a moment. I know this sub is intended more for victims of infidelity, but I needed to say it somewhere.